Welcome to Secret Squirrels, episode 34, hashtag hide your nuts. We are doing some normal stuff today. There's nothing particularly unusual, so you probably don't need to stop by. You probably don't need to watch this. But, you know, if you're really bored, you might as well go ahead and stay. So, Norse attack map. Is there anything new today?
All I know is my internet has been crap all day.
Ah.
From the rain.
So I would say it was rain, but I don't have any rain here to make it crappy about.
Well, you know, we've been warned about that 48 hours, you know, whatever you call it. So,
yeah.
48 hours that maybe what was the name of it? ICANN or whatever you call it?
Yeah, see, ICANN. Yeah, that's the guys that give you your domain names and translate it into numbers for you. Yeah,
so they're like going under some kind of change in management or something like that because you know they're doing a security upgrade. From my gathering, they're moving everything finally over to the IPv6 system, which is a little more complex of giving you an IP address. But don't they have different keys now too, though? Right? They're changing the keys.
Right? Yeah, they are.
But you know, you look at this Norse map, and it actually does look a little bit different. I can't really say I know how it looks different, but it does seem to have a different sort of personality to it. It's like they're different colors, and I don't know. It just looks different. So I don't know.
It's quieter, but I don't think it should be quieter.
Well, but it's like there's fewer attacks, but it seems like the ones that are in the game, you know, like at a high level, are probably still going. That's what it seems like. It's like now just the pros are left, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and Fire Sessions is saying changing keys, yes, and other things they're not telling us. And Fire Sessions, yeah, you're probably right.
Who knows?
There's
what
probably
they're
a
up to.
lot of things they're not telling us. A lot of things.
The whole backbone of the internet's probably shifting around right under our feet. We don't even know it.
I don't know. The backbone of the internet's just a quarter of a mile down the road, but it's been sucky all day. Raymond Kendall Knapp says, Frontier Airlines frowns upon my emotional support, Squirrels.
We are like group therapy, okay? That's pretty much our only real function in life.
Yes.
Have a couple laughs and watch the world on fire and all that stuff. Watch the world burn, I guess. But you know, hopefully Trump is on it. Hopefully that this is not going to be lasting forever. Who knows when things are going to definitively change? Basically, it's likely that whenever those documents finally come out to the public, that's when things do start moving. And because that does implicate not only like high members in the FBI and the DOJ, but it also shows that
CIA, please.
The GCHQ, the MI6 people are involved in it. They're the ones that originated stuff. And it also shows that the mainstream media were complicit in this cover-up. So, so once those declassified memos are released, then maybe people will start learning the truth on a number of things, because at that point, maybe we can start making some arrests on the media personalities. Because that's what's going to make the big difference in terms of mass consciousness or whatever, you know. And at that point, then it'll be hopefully easier to find some true news. I mean,
yeah. Well, instead of having to sift through 100 cajillion sources and then pick it out for yourself, So
that would be cool, because I mean, you look on. I mean, even technology websites like Wired magazine, they've been going really political lately. And this is a technology magazine, but they're like, you know, you can tell that they're the bad guys. So.
Mm-hmm.
So Fire Session says, sounds like Trump left the declassified up to this. Well, he actually did have like an executive order or something along. I'm not sure what the technical term for that is, but he did say that he wanted those documents declassified, right?
Mm-hmm. Right, he did. But I think there may be something that has to happen in order for that to go through. But I do know that Devin Nunes has also been demanding quite vocally that these things need to be released now. Yeah. And you know, just the simple fact that the left is dragging their feet, it just shows complicitness on their part, you know.
Yeah, so FISA memos, yeah, it's more than just the FISA warrant application, but I mean, Nunes did have a memo that he had released on that, and it was redacted. So it was released to the public, but it was redacted, and those redactions hid the fact that, you know, the GH, what is that, Ken? I just said it.
GHCQ.
Yeah, GHCQ. Mm-hmm. Anyway, British intelligence was involved in this business, and so you got foreign, you know, state actors doing stuff to meddling in American politics, and think about that.
And they're supposed to be our friends.
Yeah, right. But the past couple of years, they keep talking about Russia collusion, and most likely, if there was Russia collusion, it was Hillary that was doing the colluding. But then also, you know, and also you'd have China has been extremely influential in American politics and doing things, and we don't hear a peep about China trying to do that kind of stuff.
Oh no, because China, if anything, has been the worst of them all. I mean, you just look at all you have to do is look at their airplanes and say, yeah, that looks familiar.
Well, yeah, in terms of cyber war, it's probably China that's doing the most damage. But in terms of our intelligence operations, you got the Five Eyes thing, which is basically, from the way it appears to me right now, is that Five Eyes are basically run by the royal family and all those guys. You know, and it basically probably ties to the Bank of England, and probably the Rothschilds are in there. Who knows? I mean, at this point, though, the problem is I don't know if there are any reliable sources of information on what those types of stories are. How do you know when you're getting the real thing, or if somebody's pumping out a bunch of disinformation? How do you know that?
You talk on message boards. Interesting things crop up when you start talking.
It's nice to have, you know, environments where people are allowed to speculate, but still, you know,
there's people that come out. When I was working for a TV station, I actually had one guy that was very high up in the FBI contact me because I had been talking through a message board, and gave me lots of information, and which I was able to corroborate. And which was disturbing.
Well, that's the corroboration is what we need. We need stuff that we can actually verify somehow, you know. And I mean, it's like for people that follow Q, you know, the good thing about the Q stuff is that you know where to look. They're asking the questions. They're telling you what's at issue. But we don't even know enough, by and large, just in general. We don't even know enough to know which questions that we should be asking. I mean, we're starting to know. But even the people that see themselves as red-pilled, I'm skeptical as to how much still remains to be, uncovered in terms of what the deep state's been up to.
Yeah.
And so when you think about like what Trump is doing and what is being done behind the scenes with the military intelligence, you know, so is it NSA versus CIA? Is that the kind of war that's going on? You know, and then you got the CIA running, you know, I don't know if Mossad's doing stuff, you know, because Q said for Mossad to stand down, and I don't even know what that means. Does that mean that all of Mossad is dirty, or is it just a portion of it's dirty, or that maybe Mossad was working on behest of Trump? I don't know these details, and I don't know how to be certain of any of these sources that are, you know. Anyway, but so if military intelligence is doing their job, and then you probably got a bunch of private military contractors, and remind you of the Benghazi situation. So when General Ham was going to try to go into Benghazi to rescue the ambassador, he was given the stand down order by Obama. And and they fired a whole bunch of, like, I think it was like 200 high-level military officers during the Obama reign. And so, you know, all those military guys, you know, high-ranking military guys that were fired under Obama, where did they go? You think they just disappeared? Do you think they just, you know, went back to the farm? No, I don't think so either. I think they're the ones, well, it's part of the reason that the communication's happening the way that it is with the Q thing. You know, who all is Q talking to? They're talking to their enemies. They're talking to us average citizens. But I think they're also talking to these military guys that got fired under Obama. Because I suspect that they kind of got together after this, and, you know, they're the ones that kind of plotted this whole thing out. Because they now, you know, they're fired now. They got time on their hands. They can plan their revenge or whatever. So I think it all kind of goes back to the Benghazi thing. That's where this the straw that broke the camel's back. And when the military decided, you know, enough is enough. And so, and I think that's why the Q stuff is formulated in the way it is, because Q is communicating to people that are ex-military, so they can't use the official communications channels. They have to find some other means of communicating because they're not officially part of this whole thing.
Right. So, and those ones that were fired back then, basically they sent them to Landstuhl. They had to pay for their own tickets back. The Obama administration removed their security clearances, made them come back on their own dollar. It was bad. Yeah. They just basically said, okay, well, we'll strip your clearance from you so you could never testify, because that would be under, you know, the security clearance that you had. And you're on your own. Cheers.
Yeah, so there's probably a bunch of guys out there that are operating without security clearances and without official communications. But I imagine they're highly, you know, they're involved in stuff all over the world. You know, this isn't just happening in the United States. This is all over the world. You know, they got all those operations going on in China and Singapore, and, you know, all those, you know, all over Asia, all over Russia, all over Africa. These guys are all over the place. So,
right.
So yeah, there was also a Navy guy involved in that, like one of the General Ham's friends. I think he was, you know, and it's the Navy guys that are running the NSA, right? So officially, NSA falls under the jurisdiction of, like it was, what's his name, Rogers, right? Admiral Rogers was doing that, and now they got Nakasami or something.
Yeah, something like that.
But they're Navy guys anyway that are running this component. So it's the military guys against the CIA and all. So it's a, you know, it's so military versus civil, and also in addition to that, you got so much of the intelligence community is being farmed out to private contractors, you know, with their own set of rules about how this information gets spread around and what they're actually trying to accomplish. So it's so complicated, and none of this stuff is coming out in the mainstream media, and therefore most citizens don't know a damn thing about what's really going on in the world right now. It's pretty sad.
Yeah.
I mean, as little as I know, at least I know that something's happening, you know. You know, I know that the basic gist of what's going on, even though I don't know the extent to which things are happening. I don't know any details, you know, but you know, as far as what we can do, I figure that our primary target should be the mainstream media, because, you know, here we are the alternative media. We are the ones that are capable of giving voice to our own concerns and what we want to see, what questions we want to ask, rather than having the mainstream media be the ones that decide what the country is talking about. We have this whole army of people that are starting up their own YouTube channels, you know, doing their microblogging on Twitter and stuff, Gab or Minds or whatever it is. And so this alt tech and alt media stuff is rising up to challenge the mainstream media. We don't have any recourse to get after the CIA, but we can go after the mainstream media. So that's about the only thing we can do. And to that end, we need to be, I think, trying to learn about psychological warfare tactics that they employ, that they use against the American citizen. You know, and these are real jobs. You can look it up in the military. You know, there's military intelligence. Look up on their sites and look for the job, the EOS or whatever they call it. You know, you can find the job descriptions for military intelligence for engaging in psychological warfare, psychological operations. And a lot of that stuff you can actually find open source. You can study what techniques they use in terms of propaganda and censorship issues. And we have to start arming ourselves against that. But we don't have to look at the intelligence community. All we have to do is look at the mainstream media. It's so blatantly obvious. We just never thought before that they would use those techniques against their own people. That's what's
disturbing.
Yeah, it's mind blowing. You know that. I mean, we knew about the CIA doing all sorts of sketchy things down in Central and South America. We knew about all the Nicaragua stuff and, you know, the banana republics and all this kind of stuff. We knew that the CIA was shady, but we never. I mean, even going back to Vietnam, we knew that Vietnam was just a bunch of shady crap. You know, people in black suits that are going around with the military, and then you end up finding these guys strung upside down from a tree. You know, they're all like skinned. They literally skin people alive, and they'd hang you from the feet, like dangling from a tree if you did something to damage their poppy fields. Yeah, you know, their distribution or something. But anyway, I mean, all this sketchy stuff that we already knew about, we just didn't think that they would do it to us. You know, they're doing it to us. We knew that they were dirty, but we didn't realize that they were actually in war with American people.
Right, because they brought in so many of the Nazis and stuff from from Germany back in the communist Germany back in the day. They brought them in, the scientists, the doctors.
Well, Paperclip is the one that came from the Nazis.
They brought all these people in back in the day, and then they literally started infiltrating everything, and that was the CIA. Were never given a charter to work on sovereign soil, our soil. They were only supposed to be used internationally, but then they started working domestically.
And when did that happen? When did that happen?
I don't know if that ever became a legal thing. I don't think it's ever been legal for them to do that.
They don't have the thing is, they don't have a charter. They don't
have any boundaries. In other words, what you're saying is there's no laws, nothing that bounds them from doing this to us.
Basically, yeah. See, that's why JFK wanted to blow them into 1 million pieces, or however it was that he stated that years ago. Right. Because they had already been up to no good, and he knew they had been up to no good, and they had already started working domestically, and that was even part of his assassination. That was part of the coup on JFK. And this was 55 years ago, for God's sake. And since then, they've even got more and more radical with the new technology and how they've been
more crazy and more out of control.
Exactly. It was all part of the global initiative from way back in the day. And even I think it was Eisenhower who did a speech on the New World Order. So this has been going on for a long time. They should have never been allowed. They're not responsible to Congress. They're not responsible. They don't have to tell them where their funding's going, how they're getting funding, where the money's going, the drugs and the human trafficking. None of that stuff. They were responsible for nothing. They can be held, liable, like for treason and stuff like that. Yeah, hang their asses by the noose. But as far as their mission goes and things like that, you're just blowing smoke, brother, on those people. But they need to they need to be reined in.
They need to be taken apart and rebuilt.
Well, the CIA has 22 different agencies within the CIA.
Are you kidding me?
No. That's what WikiLeaks had leaked out this.
Many Christmas.
This last year, WikiLeaks has been maybe a year and a half, but I know it's in the last year or so. Anyway, on the WikiLeaks website, it gave a complete breakdown of the CIA, the basically like the other entities that run that off of the CIA, but it's still controlled by the CIA. And there's 22 of them that were put out on the WikiLeaks website. So that, they actually have investments in huge companies that bring in gazillions of dollars that are not accounted for. Yeah, they don't have to account for.
Well, if you're just looking at the tech side, I mean, this whole thing is so complicated, such a huge network. You have to break it down into like themes of bad guys. You got the DARPA teams that create basically the FANG stuff, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google. So those stocks. So basically, they drove the stock market down, and then recently they've artificially propped up the FANG stocks to try to get some revenue there. But that's going to crash because right now, these couple days, they're doing all this stuff. The good guys. I think it's the good guys that are trying to grab the keys to the internet right now because. I mean, even though DARPA is the one that started this whole campaign against the American people, well, actually the whole world, they started this campaign against the whole world, and China's being successful with their version of it. But anyway, it's like this is going down, and right now the stocks are artificially propped up, probably by Rothschild's money or something like that. That they're propping up this.
Absolutely.
And so they're making the people that don't know anything about all this conspiracy stuff. They're seeing the stocks go down a little bit, take a slight dip, but then they see the tech sector starting to prop it up. So they're actually calling it. They're saying, the mainstream media is saying that the stock market is being propped up right now by the tech sector, which is such a lie. But they're trying to draw all that money in from other stocks and bring that into the FANG group, right?
Yeah.
And that's based on a lie. If anything, you should be selling short right now on FANG.
Yeah. So that's what they're trying to do to make it look like that the plan that Trump's success is failing, and they're trying to get people to it looks like they're going to have a crash or whatever, and they'll try. I mean, just like whenever that reporter last year said that he was confident and had sources that said Trump had colluded with Russia. Remember that the stock market tanked. That's the stunts that they're going to pull definitely between now and election day. And these gazillionaires will try this on a regular basis. And let's just pray that, the other gazillionaires will buy to cause the stocks to stay, at least somewhat satisfactory for the American consumer, the American investor.
So all this initial conversation right here, I'm trying to set up the context for this one story that I want to really push. Because, so right now, in terms of what us little guys can do is take on the mainstream media. And the means by which we do it is all those microblogging sites and like Facebook and Twitter and all that kind of stuff, YouTube. And so this war right now that we're engaged in the next couple of days is when when the good guys, I hope, are like taking the keys away from the bad guys. I hope that's what's happening right now. And that's why the internet's so glitchy right now. But here's the story, right? There's a story I want to put up. It's Breitbart. The Good Censor. Google briefing accused Trump of spreading conspiracy theory. What is the conspiracy theory? Well, scroll down here a little bit. An internal briefing produced by Google and leaked exclusively to Breitbart News portrays President Trump as a conspiracy theorist. The briefing, titled The Good Censor, argues that Google and other tech platforms must abandon their commitment to the American tradition of free speech if they wish to continue global expansion and appease advertisers. It can be read in full below, and we'll get to that link in a second. But a Google spokesman said the document should be considered internal research and not an official company position. And so we're reading all this, and you got to read between the lines to find out what's really happening here. But according to the briefing itself, it was the product of an extensive process involving several layers of research, including expert interviews with MIT Tech Review Editor-in-Chief Jason Ponton, Atlantic staff writer Franklin Foer, and academic Kalev Litaru. 35 cultural observers and 7 cultural leaders from 7 countries on 5 continents were also consulted to produce it. So one of the reasons the document cites for alleged public disillusionment with free speech on the web, and in quotes here, users are asking if the openness of the internet should be celebrated after all, claims the briefing, is the fact that it allows conspiracy theories to spread. In other words, the truth. They got to figure out how to stop the truth from spreading. Because right now, we're doing a very Trumpian thing because we're using their tools against them. We are using DARPA's production. YouTube is owned by Google, and Google is a product of DARPA. So we are using Google against Google. Right?
Yes, and that's the way to do it.
Right.
That's kind of like you had said that time. Their own creations like this would be their downfall.
Right. So we're using social media, what they call social media, and even the name social media. What does that mean? It means that it's not the propaganda that is controlled by the big corporations. This means that us little guys have a voice, and they're trying to censor us on the social media because they have these, in quotes, our little scare quotes, conspiracy theories that you read truth. The truth is coming out, and we can't stop it. And they're nervous about it. They got to figure out how to silence everybody from talking to each other because too much truth is coming out. So at the time, Google said that it suppressed negative autocomplete suggestions about everybody, not just Clinton, but it was comparatively easy to find such autocomplete results. With, who cares about autocomplete? I don't know why they put so much emphasis on that, because they're censoring other stories. They're putting you down on these search algorithms and stuff. You can't even find the stuff, but not if you use Google. So use DuckDuckGo. I mean, I think that's safe. Anyway, the document did not address the fact that the impact of foreign bots and propaganda on social media has a negligible impact on voters. And so, anyway, it's a questionable article. It is produced by Breitbart, but I don't know who this Alam Bukhari is. But I mean, you could read through you can kind of read between the lines on this and get the real juice on it. But here's the script where it's the actual internal memo. I don't know, it's some kind of what do you call it? Like a presentation that was produced internally for internal circulation in Google.
Of course.
And so the way that they phrase it themselves is, how can Google reassure the world that it protects users from harmful content while still supporting free speech? That's I mean, they're putting it to their own employees that we are champions of free speech, of course, because we're the good guys. But we don't want to allow these trolls to be telling all this propaganda. Well, meanwhile, it's the mainstream media that's the propaganda, and us so-called trolls are actually trying to get the truth out. So they just got good and evil flipped around, and they're
and they've got that they're all getting paid. They're all working together to censor any kind of conservative platform, any kind of real truth getting out. If it's not their story that they've concocted, they don't want it out there.
Right.
And if we put it out there, then they get even more hacked off. Well, tough. You know what I mean? That's on them. This is all their mess that they have created, and we're just like the cleanup crew.
So this is a PowerPoint presentation, actually, that has been leaked.
Our favorite.
Breitbart apparently got a hold of this internal document, but I take it as one of those things that you have your internal meetings, whatever you do when you're cogging the machine, I guess. But hey, Bandit, what's up?
How we doing, guys?
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Well, I had a couple of things. I was listening to you while I was cleaning up supper here. A couple of things. So Lori and I have been together 5 years, about 5.5 years. And when I met her, she was, just kind of blind to the world, living in her own world, which I'm sure 60-70% of America is and does. And I woke her up, and she is pretty woke. But the last month I've been hanging with you guys, and I've been into another world, I guess. A deeper world. And so just last night, I was explaining to her about what I had said about the walkaway movement. Being just from the left, and if Trump was so evil, and if the Republicans were so bad, and everything else, that wouldn't there be a walkaway movement? From the Republican side. And she looked at me like a dog looks at you when you talk to them and they don't have a clue what you're saying.
Yeah.
She tilted her head, and she didn't know what I was talking about. Exactly. And I said, you've heard of the walkaway movement, right? Nope. They said, wait a minute. Come on. Facebook, you come on. You've had to have heard of the walkaway movement. No, she hadn't. So I sat and explained it to her, and I was like, oh my God, okay. So this deeper world that I've been in with you guys for the last month, even somebody like her who lives with me, who, is pretty woke, she's not even getting, half the stuff.
Yeah, you have to dig for it. You have to really look for it. You can't be passive about it and expect to find anything. Unbelievable. But now I want to ask you guys on a serious note. I've never believed in Russian bots. I have never believed in them. I always thought that was an excuse by the left and by mainstream media that, okay, the walkaway movement, that's Russian bots. These are excuses. It's the Oogie Boogie Man. It's somebody they can hang without even having any proof that there's anybody there. I don't believe that there are Russian bots. I truly don't believe the Russians did anything. Well, you think about it like this. I mean, that's kind of
election.
That's kind of what happened when they invented the concept of terrorists, because terrorists are non-state actors, so they can't use traditional warfare tactics. So, I mean, when they invented terrorism as a non-state thing, it's like we all learned to swallow that wholesale without thinking that maybe there are some powerful organizations behind those terrorist acts.
Right. And then we had so many, remember whenever they sent so many of the people back from the Russian embassy, they sent them back overseas, right? And then they sent our people back over here, right? That means we had people in Russia at the time working in the embassies who could have just as easily done this that worked for the CIA as they had people here in the United States. And even William Binney stated from literally, days after this thing came out that, it was hacked. He's like, no, I'm telling you. And that's just not the way it went down. And once he got to really investigating in it, he said, no, it did not happen like that. This was brought out on a thumb drive. It was transferred incredibly quick. And, but yeah, so if you set up your keyboard and you have a VPN, you can set up your keyboard to write in Russian or any other language for that matter. And that's what it shows up on the other end of the IP. And that's why he tried to break down. But of course, the mainstream media was not going to put that out. And, so, millions of people, they don't have a clue how all that works, but a lot of us do have a clue how it works. But he did a really great breakdown. And whenever he did the movie, I think it's called The Good American, William Binney, he was he was over at the NSA for years. But it was very, very good. And he did a complete breakdown on exactly how it went down.
So, Jax, I'm not hearing much from you tonight. What are you thinking about all this?
Nothing much. Sorry, I'm still recovering from a computer crash.
Oh, so. Your computer crashed?
Did you have your seatbelt on?
Well, that was the problem. The airbag deployed, and I think I've got a bloody nose, so it's going to take me a minute.
Okay.
So give me a minute. So
read these things. I mean, look at this. Google's atmosphere of creativity and challenges helped us provide unbiased, accurate, and free access to information for those who rely on us around the world. Facebook is a tool to create a more honest and transparent dialogue around government. The result will be better solutions to some of the biggest problems of our time. And Twitter is the free speech wing of the free speech party. Are you kidding me? They're saying exactly the opposite of reality.
Exactly.
Well,
they change the algorithms. They censor it for some people will never see whatever it is that you post. And all of the software behind all these people came from the CIA and DARPA, for God's sake. They cannot get it through their thick heads.
And wasn't it about Edward Snowden, right? Wasn't he one of the authors of that software, the algorithms, as they call it, that that taints the way that we see information?
Yeah, and well, he was also the leaker, of course, of all the NSA collecting.
Well, yeah, he was pretending to be NSA himself, but he was actually CIA.
Yeah.
And it may be the case that he all along was just a misguided patriot, that he was trusting the CIA when he shouldn't have. I don't know. I don't really know what his true motivations are, but I heard a rumor, and I don't have any verification for this, but I heard a rumor that Zuckerberg, the Facebook guy, and Snowden are cousins. Any evidence of that? But that's curiosity, you know. If
that's interesting,
if it is true that Snowden and Zuckerberg are cousins, then I would tend to believe that Snowden knew all along what he was doing when he signed up for the CIA. He knew they were the bad guys, and he went along with it, and he was corrupt from the beginning.
It's coming up in my search. It's a search term. So, this is interesting. Yeah, just put that in as a search term. You get some interesting stuff come up. Dangerous Minds is talking about it. Do you want the link?
No, I'm not feeling that motivated today, but
okay.
We are still going through this PDF thing, and we've got a long ways to go. But, I mean, this internal document leak seems like a big deal. But, I mean, it doesn't really prove anything, I guess. I mean, it's just that they're lying to their own employees. You know?
Exactly.
Because this is an internal document. So you get, who was that guy that worked for Google that was saying, you know, that he got fired for suggesting that free speech was not allowed internally within
that Google? One guy that wrote the memo.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember his name, but he. Yeah.
So anyway, and, I'm just going to scroll through more quickly now. I don't know. I mean,
it was a memo
guess,
on diversity.
Yeah, see, and the left, even the typical citizen Democrat, you know, they say that they believe in diversity unless you happen to be white or male or Christian or whatever, you know, those things that are tended to be Republican positions. You know, they don't believe in diversity if you're a Republican. It doesn't count if you're a Republican.
Now, listen, everything that they say is the opposite. Everything. I don't care what it is. Obama was going to be the most, his administration was going to be the most, what was the word he used?
Transparent.
Thank you. Was going to be the most transparent administration ever. And it was the complete opposite. The complete opposite. And yes, everything that they say they're against, they are completely for, and everything they're for, they say they're for, they are completely against. Anything that you look at when it comes to the left is the complete opposite of what they say.
Well, the one thing that they are pretty much conscious of is they do not support diversity when it comes to opinion. You have to accept the party line. You have to be, you know, a good little communist. You know, if you question the virtue of communism or whatever other agendas they have in store for us, then you're the bad guy.
Yeah, they're Agenda 21.
So it is hive mind. You know, they are. You know, it's like herd mentality. It seems to be like a self-conscious herd mentality. They know, or they seem to know, that they're all thinking the same things because they do all their virtue signaling according to their own artificial religion or whatever this thing is. You know. You
know what? Maybe they're the ones who have been like Project Mockingbird. Their little minds have been programmed.
Well, obviously. Yeah.
They just don't realize it.
Yeah, and it's that thing where you can get away with lying to people so long as you flatter them in the process. And so the citizens, I'm not talking about the leadership in the Democratic Party, I'm talking about the typical Democratic voter, you know, the man on the street that vote Democrat. They believe that conservatives are gullible and ignorant and blah blah blah, all that stuff. But
again, completely opposite.
Right. Well, it's because of the flattery, right? It's because it makes them think of themselves as the enlightened ones, that they're the just and righteous ones, when obviously they're not. They have no particular moral compass.
Exactly.
They preach moral relativism, cultural relativism, all that stuff, and so how could here's one of the big things that really irks me about it, is that at the same time as trying to be as painting this thing where they're, it's like, every culture in the world has equal value or whatever, and they're trying to say all this stuff that no one moral code is better than any other moral code, and therefore there is no objective morality. There's no such thing as a moral fact. There's no truth when it comes to morals. But at the same time, as they say this, they're claiming moral authority in saying it. So they're claiming to be moral authorities, even though there's no such thing as morality in their view.
Well, that's what the imprints will do for you. That's the way that they think.
It's a lack of thinking. How can you possibly be a moral authority if you don't believe in morality? What does that even mean?
They are the trillionaires. Okay.
I'm talking about the average citizen, though. I'm talking about the average citizen Democrat voter.
Because they're rationalizing everything. And the key word is rationalize. If you break it down, they're telling themselves a rational lie on the way that they believe. They've got to rationalize everything that they're doing.
I'm asking them to rationalize this point. I want you to rationalize. Tell me a story how it could possibly make sense that you're a moral authority if there's no such thing as morality. You explain to me how this is possible.
You're hurting my head.
Yeah, welcome to my nights.
But in their backwards little world, though, it makes complete sense. And that's, I'm telling you, I think it's the pharmaceuticals. Honestly, they're brain.
It's the fluoride in the water.
Hold on, dropped them on their heads.
I don't think it makes complete sense to them. I think it's the means to an end. I think they want to believe it so that it's
so they don't blow their heads up. Their heads don't spontaneously erupt and brain guts go all over.
Brain guts.
Russ,
I like that.
Russ says that his hair hurts.
I think that's how they keep their heads from exploding. Seriously,
you can't leave your perm in that long, Rust.
Yeah,
I think the curlers were in too tight. It maybe pulled on their brain too much. When they were curling their hair, they just pulled a little too tight, wrapping it up like that. So I'm going right now.
It didn't affect the brain cells because they didn't have one to start with. So, at least there's a plus there.
So this article that I'm going through, that I'm just kind of skimming through, this is all these things it's a disinformation thing about conspiracy theories, and it's just funny because it's all these things that are conspiracy theories that they're trying to debunk because most likely they're all true. So,
exactly.
So they tell these things as if they're crazy nutcase. So how could you possibly believe this stuff? When, well, guess what? That's what does make sense. And they've got it worked out so that people actually believe that they're going crazy when they're starting to make sense. Like, oh my God, this is making sense. I don't want it anymore. Quit, shut up. They've got us programmed to not want to understand anything. And it's like deeply embedded in our psyche that as soon as things start to make sense, we want to shut the damn TV off because we don't like the sensation of things making sense. Just like when you're talking about, making your hair hurt when I'm talking,
exactly,
stop making sense. I can't handle it anymore.
So, but you have to think of who actually came out with the word conspiracy theorist, and that was the CIA in the 1960s.
Yeah.
Okay. They're the ones who have drilled this down and manipulated the media to where anything that they don't believe in or they don't want you to look into or whatever, they label you just like they've labeled Alex Jones and, Dr. Corsi and millions of other people.
President Trump.
Yeah. It's true. That's when it came out. I think it was like 1967, something like it was in the 60s. From the CIA came out with it. That's what they called it, because people were starting to question JFK's assassination, and the CIA came out with it. And since then, they've done nothing but, if you're on the right track, they did the same thing to William Cooper, who wrote Beyond a Pale Horse. I mean, lots of people who were on the track to the truth of many of these suicided and, Arkancided, and
well, guys,
it was considered a conspiracy
here's
theory.
the thought for you. I'm thinking Christmas is coming up. Chances are, I know, chances are my crazy communist ex-husband's coming down for Christmas.
Oh, yippee.
So I'm going to invite Brainstorm. Well, nothing that will be fatal, unfortunately.
You know what you should do with this?
I'm inviting you, Brainstorm, to my house for Christmas, and I'm filming it.
Well, how about this, though?
We don't want to see that.
Hey.
I want to see these two talk.
So I think
the communist
we
and
should
the
go
right
ahead
side.
and make a video, all in prep there to present to your ex. Just the red pillist video of them all, and we'll just put it on the big TV and set them down. Watch this, and just every
he'll
point,
sit there with his prissy
all those
on the side of the couch.
So all of those, the key cornerstones of the leftist ideology, whatever their faith is or lack of it, whatever. It's their brainwashing. So you take the key tenets and you just systematically dismember it. Just take it apart, just systematically. Boom, 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 boom. Make their whole worldview collapse so that they curl up into a little ball.
The first one I want to see us do is I want to see how it's Trump's fault. I want us to debunk Trump. It's Trump's fault that we have global warming.
Oh, okay.
I want to see that,
well,
because
if you debunk global warming,
he truly believes it's Trump's fault that we have global warming.
Yeah, but if you debunk global warming, isn't it kind of implicit that it's not Trump's fault because it doesn't exist? How can it be his fault if it doesn't exist?
Well, I told him, I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll believe there's global warming when I don't have to have Al Gore come over and shovel my driveway.
Somewhere I came across recently, they actually have like a surplus. They're having this huge surge of polar bears that are being born. The ice is thickening. It's like everything Al Gore said is exactly backwards.
It is.
Again, just like I said, everything is the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Complete opposite. Everything.
Not everything.
It doesn't matter. Like what? Give an example.
Well, I told you that that one thing that they already do know is that everybody has to think the same. The virtue signaling. They know that you have to toe the party line.
Hold on. No. You give me an example of something that isn't the complete opposite of what they say.
Yeah. I
just did.
What?
That that everybody has to think the same. They believe that you have to believe what all the other ones, it's like they know that they're part of this herd, they know
Patriot 3 is saying it's Brainstorm's fault for global warming. Does Willie the polar bear need to make another appearance?
I want to know why Patriot 3 is dallying over there, and if he could be in here.
Oh, let's see. His battery's probably going dead.
Yeah, he's probably got some kind of excuse.
It's too hot. It's too cold. I got sand in my...
He is from California, right? He's probably got an excuse. He's probably...
Oh, he says he's in class.
Yeah, likely story.
Oh.
He's using us. Oh, Patriot 3, we miss you. You need to be here.
What's it? Proud Boy. That's what's his name? Gavin McInnes, right?
I think so.
That's his crew. I don't really follow them. I don't know what they're up to.
We probably ought to.
Faith Goldie was in the news, though. She's and the good news there is she sounds like she's running for mayor of Toronto. Wouldn't that be a hoot? She's cool. I really like Faith Goldie. She's pretty hip and happening. I think for a while they were. I think
Gavin McGinnis is co-founder of Vice Media.
Okay, Vice Media.
Yeah. So
really?
I don't think that. Yeah, that's what it says in Wikipedia, and he's the host of Get Off My Lawn on Conservative Review.
I thought Vice magazine. I mean, Vice magazine's a lefty thing.
No, he's conservative, Canadian writer, actor, comedian. That's what it says on Wikipedia. Just telling you.
Okay. Oh, and Wikipedia is very trustworthy.
Well, I know.
Yeah, well.
No, it's not.
Well, I don't know.
He is the leader of the Proud Boys. That's what.
Yeah, but there is a reality here that there are also disinformation agents. They go out and provide what do they call that? Controlled opposition. So that's a thing too. So just because they say they're conservative doesn't mean that they are.
Exactly.
Yeah. It says he's a founder of the Proud Boys. Some of them are saying that.
So Raymond Knapp says it turned on him. So maybe he created this organization and then it got out of hand and he lost control of it. Or sure, I can see that as a plausible explanation. So what else do I got here? I think I have a little bit more to cover. We could quick flip through the what do you call it? The spider thingy. Spiders. Just to see what's going on. What?
Spiders from Mars? Spiders from Mars?
It's our news aggregator service thingy.
I know what it is. Ziggy
Stardust?
And Spiders from Mars.
I don't know that song.
No, that's the group. Oh, come on.
Sorry, man.
Oh,
I'm not hip.
Jeez.
I'm not hip.
I know.
I'm definitely.
I have to admit that's not a group I know either, and I thought I knew them all.
Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars was David Bowie's alternate ego.
Well, you know that David Bowie was deep state. Come on, he's doing that whole gender bending thing.
I don't care.
That's part of the deep state agenda.
I saw a report. I saw a thing on his life, and they were saying that actually David Bowie didn't like it that they had what was it, the word that they used? They kind of he didn't have control. He didn't like that they had co-opted it and made him gender neutral and part of the gay movement, because that wasn't who he was at all. And they were showing his many love affairs with women to prove it. Yeah. So evidently he didn't like it that they had co-opted him. So
I know I wouldn't like it.
So, but he was powerless to do anything about it. So.
Well, Patriot 3, I've always thought Patriot 3 was a lot younger than us, but he knows that Peter Frampton.
No, he's our age.
Oh, well, he's got a young voice. Holy crap.
Well, he hangs out with all those hip students.
Oh.
It's a California thing, man.
Yeah,
okay,
man.
dude.
Yeah.
It rubs off on you. All right.
Like, totally.
Anyway, he knew that Peter Frampton played good lead guitar on that tour. So at least he knew what I was talking about. Thanks, Patriot 3. Go back to class.
Patriot 3 knows about Avalon, too. He can tell you stories. Just give it a minute.
I have no idea about Avalon.
Avalon, Roxy Music.
Nope, don't know.
Oh, she had me listen to that Roxy Music stuff. It is crap. Don't even give it a shot.
What?
Hey, it's a California thing. Let California things stay in California.
Patriot 3, we're going to have to teach them the ways of Roxy Music. And he says that's hot. He's right. Roxy Music is hot.
No.
Slave to Love is amazing. Slave to Love is amazing.
He just took a bite of pizza and he burnt the roof of his mouth. That's hot.
All right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or he's quoting Paris Hilton.
Jeez.
That's hot.
What do we got here? Japanese PM Shinzo Abe plans visit to China. Is that relevant news?
I like what Patriot 3 said, and he's right.
You gonna share?
No.
Oh.
Older women play it when they have a notion. Let's just leave it at that.
What's a notion?
What he said.
A notion, not an ocean.
And Russ Rickstrom says he likes them. So there you go. And he's not from California.
No, he's feeling California. Live in Minnesota. No, anyway. That isn't how the song goes.
Shinzo Abe. What about him?
I'm skimming through here. The territorial disputes with China. They're trying to keep up sanctions against North Korea.
Yeah, they keep expanding their borders against Japan. They keep taking a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. So
see ya, Patriot.
See you later, Patriot 3.
Have a good evening.
Russ, I said never mind.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to talk to Russ. Definitely don't want to talk to him.
No, we want Russ in here.
Oh.
We want him in here talking.
Is he one of the good guys?
Yes, he's my partner in crime. Excuse me.
Oh, well, I wouldn't know. He never talks to me.
He's a great person. He's really nice. He's just quiet and shy.
I don't think he likes me.
He's a poet and he didn't know it. He had a beard, he'd be a goat.
He's a meanie.
Raymond says he's moving to the country to get himself some peaches.
Yes, excellent. That is the Presidents of the United States of America. Moving to the country, gonna get a lot of peaches. Moving to the country,
I did not approve the singing.
Peaches. I don't think I asked.
Well.
Like I said, Brainstorm's coming to my house for Christmas. He's going to deal with the communist firsthand. I'm going to let him do it.
And
Christmas
Bandit is getting sassy.
Finally be fun.
You watch out, because Bandit's getting sassy.
Finally be fun again.
You know how sassy Bandit was getting?
Well, don't expect Brain to sing any Christmas carols, obviously.
I don't think there'll be Christmas carols being sung. If there isn't gunshots going off, it'll be a miracle. You get the Japanese communist against a nice American farm boy. This is going to be interesting. I'm gonna put it on YouTube and make it pay-per-view because people will watch this.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Well,
yeah.
We did some pretty good work earlier on in this episode, but at this point we're maybe declining a little bit.
What? We're just starting to have fun.
Oh no, Jax, that's because Bandit showed up. I see where this is going.
You got those big shoes, man.
You guys talked about all the serious crap earlier. Now Bandit's coming and watering it down with his dumbness, his Homer Simpson like attitude.
I wouldn't say that.
Don't.
Brainstorm, be nice to Bandit or you're going to your room. That's it.
Eat a lot of peaches. You're going to get
grounded.
That's right.
I want to read about imperialist propaganda. This is Breitbart Europe, I guess. What's that? It's got that British flag thingy on it. Huh.
It's from Breitbart UK.
I guess. Cambridge students reject veterans' imperialist propaganda Remembrance Day on Great War Centenary. Yeah, the imperialists. Who are the warmongers
the
again?
The only people that use imperialist propaganda are the ones that are doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
that guy's got no legs.
So, sorry. Let me turn it off.
You had to turn your dog off?
She's got a remote.
Is it one of those mechanical dogs that sits on the table and?
No, it's called "Shut Up, Damn It." That's my remote control.
Yeah, it's like Sarah Connor, Raymond.
So.
The group added that young conservatives' insistence on supporting British troops to the exclusion of millions of other victims of war is jingoistic, imperialist propaganda. So there. They stick their tongues out at us.
When exactly did everybody start getting butt hurt about everything? I mean, seriously.
When we started allowing political correctness.
At the beginning of the Obama administration.
God.
No, I would say it was the beginning of the Clinton administration with that stupid PC stuff.
Well, but Obama really upped to the cycle.
He drove it home.
Yeah.
Especially
the Queen, she didn't help either. She's part of that whole caboodle of
brain dead
corruption.
I keep telling everybody, and I don't care who it is, from my kids to my girlfriend to my dad, we were in trouble, and I saw it. This is the exact turning point for me. Seriously, I've been political since the Marine Corps, but the exact turning point for me that made me fanatical about being a patriot was when they started picking on Merry Christmas. That was it.
Oh,
for me.
Yeah.
When that became a problem during the Obama administration, when it became a holiday tree at the White House instead of a Christmas tree, that's when I knew we were in trouble. That right there. I mean, there was a bunch of stuff before that, I know, but I kept living with it. You know, just like the frog in the pot boiling water. I kept living with it. That when it went to Merry Christmas is a problem. Merry Christmas might offend people. That's when I snapped. That's when I went.
Don't they call it like Happy Kwanzaa or something like that? What's that? What is Kwanzaa?
Kwanzaa is a fake holiday.
Kwanzaa is an African, some kind of African Christmas situation. I don't know what it is, so I'm not going to cut it down. I don't know what it is. I don't care because I don't care about Hanukkah. I don't care about any of those. They don't bother me.
Yeah, live and let live.
I'm not. Exactly. Thank you very much. But when you live in this country,
when you start knocking our stuff, then that's a problem.
Yeah, basically that was part of their plan there, because that right there is for most Christians, you know, well, all Christians, but that was how they celebrate Christ, and that was just part of the beginning of it. Okay, it was going to end up just basically like the Jews. That would have been the Christians in the United States.
Well, it's an attack on both freedom of speech and freedom of religion.
Absolutely.
Because earlier today, DC was talking about it. You know, this law in Canada. It's actually what do they call that? Blasphemy law. That they've recently found a way to take this really old law that's been on the books for a long time, and they apply it, but only to Islam. It's like you can be blasphemous to anybody's religion except Islam.
Yeah, Russ has got it right. He says Kwanzaa didn't exist until the 1960s, and he's right. It was a made-up holiday.
True, but I don't care. I don't care, honestly. Don't care about that. I don't care about anybody else's. If you want to make up your own holiday, go for it. But don't sit there and fight us when we want to celebrate what we want to celebrate. Because not only Brain just said that was a freedom of religion thing, that was a freedom of speech thing. It's also un-American. Yeah. If you're gonna go against Christmas, that's un-American. I don't care. Just this country has had Christmas forever, and that's what it is.
This country was founded by Christians, pure and simple.
Yeah.
I thought they were deists.
I don't know. Some of them are my family, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Some of them were Quakers. Some of them were other things.
At that time in history, they had this idea that, and remember that at that point in time, at that point in time, science and religion were not at odds with each other. That was before all that controversy that's made us. You're supposed to choose between science and religion. So back then, they had this note. I think this is based on Newton's theories.
What about the God particle?
Obviously, that's recent. I'm talking about the founders and their worldview. Okay. And I think it's based on Newtonian. Their standard model.
Absolutely.
So when they called it the clockmaker idea, so they basically envisioned the world as a mechanism. So you'd have a clock with a pendulum swinging, and they envisioned God as being the clockmaker. And even the theology at the time, they thought that maybe, to believe that the world needed intervention from God was kind of a limitation on God's perfect plan for constructing this mechanistic world. And so that's why they call themselves deists rather than theists, because deism doesn't require God's continual intervention.
Well, Russ is saying actually the deists were a very small percentage, but I digress.
So there, in your face, brain.
But the founders, I think, were deists. The people that were in, the insiders or whatever.
Well, some of them, I'm sure.
Very small percentage.
Well, like Jefferson and Washington and those main figures, right?
Just them. Only them. 3. That's it. That's all there were.
Okay. That's it.
I love you, Brain. I really do.
Yeah, you just try to make my life hard all the time.
No, constantly. I do love you because you put up with my crap.
We have a moment of...
We love you.
Yeah, whatever it is. This is our kumbaya moment.
I love you.
Yeah.
I'm smiling.
Are you uncomfortable? Hold on. Are you uncomfortable with me saying I love you, Brain? Seriously. Oh my gosh. No way, no how do I have any kind of need for you. As a man.
So you're saying it's not a codependent sort of thing?
No, this is a total bromance. Okay. I just love you for your brain. That's all.
Russ is saying 52 of the 56 signers were regular attendees of their churches.
Russ, you were not there. I know you're old, Russ, but you were not there. So how do you know?
And that doesn't mean that that you know their theological position. I mean, you could go to church without necessarily believing everything that you hear.
That's right. It might have just looked good on their resume.
Well, it's a social, Anyway, doesn't matter. I mean, they did believe in God. They're not atheists. They're definitely not communists. So we're good.
Russ is saying, give him a big man hug.
Yeah.
I can't, Russ. He's not near me at the moment.
Oh. Neo-Marxism.
Colleen is saying Kwanzaa was created by a professor at Cal State Long Beach around 1966. It's a cultural holiday, not a religious one. So there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Colleen.
Yes,
we appreciate that. That's excellent information because that's what I thought it was.
Thank God we have fact checkers in our chat room. Come on.
We have the most amazing people that hang out in our chat room.
Raymond wants to know if we want to hear him sing a rap scripture to trap beat clicks. Chad hid 72 scriptures in a folder.
Yeah, do it now, Raymond. Do it now.
Do it right now. Do it. Come on.
Shameless plug. You'll get a good laugh later.
We're getting one loud because we can't hear you, Raymond. It's impossible for you to do a sound over the chat. Come on.
Yeah.
But I can do it. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Demand for social justice creates an endless stream of expenditures deemed essential for health, education, old age, and for all people who are needy, persecuted, and oppressed, be it real or imaginary.
Well, I'm needy.
Real or imaginary?
This is the
imaginary also.
Yeah.
They said
it'd be cool to do some research into the cultural Marxism, get into the Frankfurt School and the what's that school at Columbia University. They have the new school for social research. All those guys that came over from literally Frankfurt, Germany.
Yeah.
What?
That would be interesting.
Because those are the guys that ended up, infiltrating the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm. And Raymond Knapp says if you click on his chat head, you can find it. And he says he's just showing his colors.
I'm doing it right now.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, because I don't think everybody realizes that Karl Marx was German, and where it comes from, and why we're finding so much of the problems that we're having are with the UK, and how it ties into cultural Marxism and the Germans.
Yeah.
Jackson and I started reading a book about that.
Yes, we did.
Interesting stuff. Because, and that's part of the reason why I want to read that Kolakowski book, because, that's a much longer history to Marxist thought. I mean, communism, Marxism and communism are not actually synonymous, because Marxism is only one strain of that thought. And there's many other points of view on it. And it gets very complicated, like trying to figure out what's the difference between a socialist and a communist. You could joke around about it and say, well, socialism is what you do on the way to communism. But, I mean, they have all these technical terms and, like, different meanings for different things. So
what is the difference?
I don't know.
Okay, time out just for a second, please. Hold on, time out for just a second, please. Raymond Knapp, I find it very interesting. It's not my cup of tea, but it's very neat what you did there. I just listened for a few seconds, but kind of cool. Really, seriously, kind of cool. People need to go check it out. It's he's rapping the Bible, actually.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of neat. I liked it. I'm not into that kind of stuff, but I liked it. It was neat. So good job there, Raymond.
Oh, look at this article, this title. Pizzas must shrink or lose their toppings under government anti-obesity plan. This is out of Telegraph from the UK.
This has got to be New York or London or
UK.
LA.
Yeah, so it's.
Oh okay.
That's what they're doing in Britain. Aren't you glad you don't live in England? Wow.
Yeah, England, New York.
Big fat pizza tonight.
Shall we go on?
Yeah, we got to go for deep dish just in celebration of that headline.
Ooh, a double deep dish with extra toppings and extra cheese.
There are times, and this is another conversation that we had behind the scenes. I'm sorry about that, chat, but behind the scenes, Jax and I were debating the merits of thin crust versus thick crust.
Oh my gosh, he likes thin crust, guys.
Well, I like both.
There's something wrong.
No, I like both.
Just say both.
I like them for different reasons. There's a time when I'm in the mood for thin crust and a time when I'm in the mood for thick crust.
I think my trip to New York was the most miserable trip in the world because
they have thin crust pizza.
Because they have thin crust pizza and it's disgusting. I'm sorry, but I think it's disgusting.
And you want to take a trip into Chicago just for the deep dish.
Exactamundo, with extra toppings and extra cheese and anchovies.
Do you ever had a stuffed pizza?
Yes, and I like those too.
Yeah, we got a good place around here. Vitali Joe's, and they put their sauce on top, and it's a really zingy
Do they
sauce.
Really?
Oh God, yes, it's good.
Oh my goodness! Oh, that makes me hungry.
I'm gonna say it's probably a good 3 inches, probably 3 inches deep.
Are you kidding me? Oh, I think I've died and gone to heaven.
Great
do
stuff.
They do anchovies?
I don't know because I don't. So I've never ordered it. So I don't know.
Anchovies are wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And Raymond, I just clicked on the very first one, Zechariah or something like that. Sorry if I'm butchering that, but yeah, I liked it. Because you kept a sheepdog, not a wolf, in sheep's clothing, and I have a sense of humor. That
went over our head.
Yep.
Sorry.
Well, the sheepdog is a military thing, right? That's what the infantry guys call themselves when they're going after bad guys, right?
Is that why you kept it at 72?
I was just a dumb truck driver from Iowa. I don't know what the heck I'm talking about.
Well, I thought you did some Marine stuff. Weren't you playing Marine for a while?
Nobody in the Marine Corps called anybody a sheepdog.
I don't know if Mother Bravo does that now.
I never heard my dad ever use that term.
Maybe it's a Navy thing. I could see that being a Navy thing.
Yeah.
Squids and sheepdogs.
It's definitely not a Navy thing.
Really? Really? Prove it.
Oh my goodness. Russ, hand-thrown crusts are good. I'm gonna end this debate right now. I like all pizzas. I like all pizzas. Some just better than others.
You know, some of my favorite pizzas were in Japan. You know, nothing's better on a pizza than grilled squid, or getting an Alfredo sauce with corn and scallops.
Okay, sometimes, Jax, I think you're the coolest person on earth, and then other times I think you should just shut it. Just shut it.
Yeah, I don't know about this whole squid on pizza thing.
Squid on pizza is delicious because it's chewy and crispy communist at the same time.
That sounds communist.
Yeah.
It's better than pepperoni. It's better than pepperoni. I didn't eat fish heads. I refused to eat fish heads. That was one thing.
Fish heads, roly-poly fish.
Roly-poly fish heads.
Fish heads. Eat them up.
Yum.
Yeah.
But pizza with corn on it is always delicious. And so is shrimp.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Corn is delicious on it.
Pizza is not meant for corn. No.
Yes, it is. Try it. Try it. And tell me you don't like it.
Sauce, cheese, and meats of some sort. That's it. Okay, some vegetables. I do love mushrooms. Fresh mushrooms.
And that whole thing with the, what do you call that? The spinach and chicken. That's pretty good.
Oh, that's delicious too. That's delicious.
A little that Gouda cheese or whatever they call it.
Yes, with a nice garlic Alfredo sauce. Yes, and then you put a little bit of grilled squid all the way around the edges.
Stop with the squid on your pizza. You're ruining pizza. I was going to go, after the show, I was going to celebrate the headline and go have some deep dish. But you keep talking about squid and you're ruining it for me.
Anchovies around it is delicious.
You communist.
With some liver and farva beans.
Yeah. Oh, well, actually, they call those
beets on there. Let's put some beets on your pizza.
I like beets. I think they're tasty.
Put some radishes. That'll be good.
Radishes are good.
On pizza?
But I usually have it in my soup. Thank you.
My soup.
So guys, I think we're kind of, I don't know, we're circling the drain here, so it's probably time for us to head out. I mean,
we're kind of spinning.
I don't know.
Raymond's saying hand tossed, oven baked sounds as bad as arugula on pizza.
Arugula is good on a sandwich.
As soon as we started talking about squid on pizza, I think we were done. I think that just pretty much marked the end for us.
Hand tossed, oven baked, no calamari. But the calamari is tasty, I'm telling you.
Russ says the same thing. No squids, no anchovies, not on his pizza.
That's because you guys don't have vision.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I can see the little squiggly things on my pizza, and I'll spit them off.
That's it. I'm not taking you guys to Japan with me. That's it. I'll remember that. You'll embarrass me. You'll embarrass me.
I'll do a nice big bourguignon any day over anchovies and squid on my pizza. So,
Colin Allen, no corn, no way.
Oh, the corn on pizza. Trust me. Just try it.
You are so outvoted.
Pizza.
She's a heretic.
Jack, you are so outvoted in here. Everybody in this chat and everybody that's talking are against you.
That's because you guys haven't tried it. I didn't think that I would go for it.
No, that's because we're all
when my in-laws bought one and it came home, I was like, oh my gosh, there's corn on this pizza and there's shrimp. But then I tasted it and holy cow, it was delicious. So my kids make me put corn on it.
I can do shrimp, but I don't know about the corn thing.
Big thing in Hawaii was jalapeno and pepperoni. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, in Texas,
if you do
the jalapenos on almost everything.
If you do corn with pineapple and ham, it's really tasty.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
on pizza, yes.
Oh. Pineapple.
Yep. No, Jax, it's just wrong.
Okay, so we're probably go ahead and hit the fade button on there. All right.
Hey, maybe button. We don't need you, Brain.
Okay.
Maybe we can keep talking about different flavors of pizza that Jax screws up.
Raymond Kettle Knapp is saying, in all honesty, I thought breakfast pizza would suck.
No, I agree there. You know, with the eggs works good. I like the eggs on my pizza. That works.
I like a sherbet pizza personally.
What?
Is that like ice cream on your pizza? How can you cook your ice cream?
No, what you do is you make a pizza
she is just trying to freak us out now.
Yeah,
I like 90 weight gear oil on my pizza.
Got that too. She's trying to freak people about her weird dietary.
I'm coming to Iowa and I'm showing you boys what ice cream pizza's about, and then you'll give me a hug because it's delicious.
I like crushed pine cones on my pizza.
Oh, Lord.
I take doggy biscuits and break them up all over my pizza.
You make a pizza. The pizza's made with a sugar dough crust, and then you get fruit like strawberries.
Well, that's
blueberries.
Jax really is crazy.
And then you put a big scoop of sherbet ice cream on top of it.
That's called a dessert pizza. That's not a regular freaking pizza.
Yes, it is a pizza. We eat it here all the time. It's a normal Utah fare.
It's a freaking giant cookie with fruit.
Yeah.
No, because it's cut up in slices. Because you put this little jelly on it that's delicious.
Yeah, I'm just going to gradually take the volume down on these guys. I'm just going to kind of gradually fade them out. They won't even notice it. They won't even notice it. They're just going to disappear gradually. It's just they won't even realize that it's happening. Next thing you know, you won't even hear that they're there. Because you know. I'm at this point it's just me and the musics, right? So yeah, see, they're making a big fuss about all this, and you guys don't even hear it. And see, that's the great thing about being the one in charge of the stream, because I can talk to you directly and they don't even know what's happening. Pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Are you gonna play nice? Are you gonna start playing nice then with everybody?
Wait a minute, playing nice? What are you talking about?
He's abusing us here, Bandit.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, you're gonna have to deal with my pizza so we can take him down.
See, as soon as they start mentioning pizza again, you know it's time that I really shouldn't have brought the volume back up on these guys, because as soon as yeah. So.
That just hurts.
Okay, so that was episode 34 of the Secret Squirrels. I bet you were glad that you were here, right? You probably valued every minute of it. It's precious, like gold or something. Yeah, because it's like a precious metal, you know. I don't know.
Fade to Black. Good
Fade
song.
to Black. Oh, that's Metallica. But I think he wants us to.
Or is it an album?
I don't have a scene set up for Fade to Black. I mean, it could, I suppose.
Is that an album or is that a song? I can't remember.
I think, yeah.
I'm going to have to set it up now. Now that he said it, I'm going to have to set it up.
Yep.
Colleen Allen. No, it's not a pizza. What is it not a pizza, Colleen?
Anything we were saying, probably.
Okay. So,
She put the thing with the little squid.
If you slice a chocolate chip cookie.
No, it's not a chocolate chip. You put a sugar cookie dough down. You bake it. Then you put the.
That's not a pizza, Jax.
Oh, where is she?
You put
Where is it?
sherbet on it. And then
Jax isn't even paying attention. Jax ain't paying attention. Russ is live in the audience.
Yes, he is.
what? What?
That's Russ.
Did we finally get Russ in?
I don't believe it.
We had to talk about pizza to get him here.
You think it was the calamari pizza? Is that what we're talking about?
The squid on the pizza?
The squid on the pizza just turned my stomach inside out. I didn't need that at all.
It's tasty, I'm telling you, tasty.
I can't handle squid when it's not on a pizza. So,
yeah. Well,
it's a texture thing with me.
Yeah.
I can't handle the texture.
I understand texture.
No kind of seafood on a pizza. No, nope, can't do it. Isn't gonna work.
I'm telling you.
Shrimp is okay, but most of the rest of it, no.
I've seen all kinds of things on pizza in Japan, and it's
I can believe that. I can believe that.
Tasty.
I don't think it's tasty, but I can believe that you've seen just about everything on pizzas over there.
Some of it I will not eat. The sea anemone, I do have a hard time with the sea anemone.
Anemones.
I have eaten sea anemone.
Anemones.
But it's usually tasty on sushi.
With friends like you, I don't need anemones.
I think we know now that Jax is a communist. There's no doubt at this point.
I'm a what?
Communist.
Nah.
Oh, fine. Yep.
She's not a communist, but she might be. She might have some socialist tendencies.
All these weird dietary conventions that she's voicing. I don't know.
Yeah, that's not normal. That's not normal.
Not healthy.
You guys don't know what you're missing out. Some of my favorite things are made of squid and octopus.
Some of your favorite things?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, like the car she drives. It's an octopus.
It's a Toyota Avalon, damn it. Get it right.
Hey, do you guys,
she's back to Avalon again, so.
That's right.
We're going to put spinners and low-profile tires and get it all close to the ground, and we're going to put the big whale tail spoiler on the back of it, and we're going to tint the windows and get some ground effects lights, put a little turbo motor in there. That Avalon's going to be singing down the road. That's right.
I go to church, and the bishop's going to be like, "So, Julie, I see you're driving a new car." Now,
yeah, she's got the bling all over. She's wearing the big gold cross and everything.
Steve
she's fully decked out.
Hold of it. Steve, is that guy you mentioned from work? Yes,
oh yeah,
unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay, so
do you want me to have a talk with him? Would you please?
I'm just gonna go ahead and log out now, and if anybody notices, then But
Is he holding us hostage?
Yeah. He's being a rotten little shithead is what he's being. And
I don't have a bleep here button. I need to get a bleep sensor button here.
He's being a terrorist, isn't he?
He is being a terrorist. I haven't seen him like this before.
Look at the power that I've got.
Will you go to his house and clean out the alcohol because there is something wrong there?
I'm not even going to tell him when I'm fading out. I'm just going to go ahead and fade out, and then the stream's going to stop, and they won't even know what happened.
Look at the power I've got. My name's Brain, and I can shut you all off with the spin of a button.
Just like that.
Yep.